What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Rockets, Hits, and Heartbreaks here. And thankfully, we've got another hit to talk about this week that kind of stood out to me the most. And so let's go through it. Like I said last week, we're gonna focus it down to just one ticket and really try to analyze, deep dive that one ticket instead of kind of going through a bunch of them rapidly. So I had a commenter, and he's like, "Look, I love the structure part of it and everything, and how they're put together and how you guys do it, but get into a little more of the handicapping and specifically why you chose to use each horse and then the eventual winner and so on and so forth." So that's what we're going to do. We're really going to deep dive more of the handicapping aspect of it this week and kind of, tell you, boom, and here's exactly why we used each horse on the ticket here. So that's kind of what we're going to do. I think it's going to be a pretty good practice for us here. And I think we're going to learn a little bit as we go today. So I'm going to have Timeform US up on the screen. I'm going to have the results up on the screen as well and kind of go through it and kind of tell you, just exactly how we were able to hit this one. Like I said, $96 ticket here. I'll share it up on the screen actually as I'm talking. $96 ticket this time. And it definitely was one where you just kind of felt like all along we kind of had this thing. Not a lot of anxious moments, but I was really proud of kind of how we structured this one, how we got to it. There were some big favorites within the sequence, and we were able to kind of beat them by going short, and that was kind of the key to this thing. This is probably when you saw this as you were handicapping. I know, at least for us, we were not thinking that this thing was going to pay $1,000. We thought if we could get $500-$600 out of it, it would be good, but we're lucky enough to beat a couple of those favorites, and that's what really helps. So there's a ticket right there. Like I said, 4x4 by 2x2 by 3 for us here at Gulfstream. And I forgot to mention, this was the Friday late pick 5 ticket. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that one off. I'm going to put it up on the screen now so you can kind of follow along here as we go. So I'll have this ticket up on the screen, and I will just share this and we will pull it up. All right, here we go. I'm going to take off this banner as well so we can kind of see the full screen. So Timeform US, that's what I use for my handicapping. I just happen to think the numbers are very accurate for Timeform US. I like how it's laid out, everything like that. So I'm showing old races here. I'm sure they wouldn't want me to show races that are coming. You probably have to, they would probably want you to pay for that. But I'm showing older races here. I'm sure they don't mind. Kind of give it a little bit of a free advertisement to them, but hey, they've helped me out a lot throughout the years, so I don't have any problem with it. So I've got it pulled up. This is race 5 on Friday to kick it off. As you see down at the bottom, there's the ticket. We went 4 deep. We went 1, 2, 3, 4. This was pretty cut and dry for us, especially when the 8 scratched. We kind of thought about the 8 a little bit. Ended up not have to worry about it because the horse scratched. Now, the winner of this race was the 4 North Caucus. And you look at these Timeform numbers, and the 4 doesn't really seem to fit. I always tell people speed figures are a great tool, but they're not the only tool. So never base everything off of the speed figures. This was the last of the 4 horses we used. This was the last one on the ticket. So I'll click on North Caucus now. Couple things. The horse had been pretty bad, right? And then got claimed and went to the Mike Maker barn. And immediately Mike Maker tries the synthetic. And the horse runs okay. Got 4th, beaten 4 lengths, $25,000 maiden claiming level, but ran okay. And, it's kind of like, okay, the horse woke up a little bit. You look at some of these other speed figures, they're not great. Decent race. Goes to the 12K maiden claiming level on the dirt for the next start and won by 4 lengths. So even though he got a 70, he got a 70 Timeform for that, I just kind of looked at it and said, okay, it was a blowout win by 4 lengths. We're going up against, winners for the first time today, but we've got Maker on our side, and we haven't had him on our side for many of these starts, and I just thought, okay, I think this horse, even though maybe doesn't fit from a speed figure standpoint, certainly is one that we could see improvement from, second on the dirt for Maker, decent spotting here to just go to the 12K level. It just seemed like one we needed to throw on the ticket. 3-1 price. You see here the winner pays $880 to kick us off. So beat a favorite in the 1 there. But just felt like one that could improve. Felt like one that was logically spotted. Didn't really care about that 70 time form number. Thought the horse could get better. Listen, sometimes these maiden claimers, they just come back with slow numbers. Now, we did use the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like I said, we focused on the 4. The 1 was coming first off the claim for D'Angelo at Gulfstream Park. That's usually a big-time move up. And it just so happened, the horse did not move up. You see right here, finished 4th here in the also-rans. So did not move up off the claim for D'Angelo. But usually you can count on that to happen. That's the main reason why you use the 1 in this spot. The 2 coming second off a layoff, was second at this level last time out, only beat the league to 3/4. Not the greatest connections, but showed a lot of talent. A lot of talent for the level, I should say. Last time out, thought the horse could move forward off of that race. And you see, got a nice second here. Would have been nice to get this horse home, but second again, and another one that next time out, if you're spotted at this level, probably going to use you. The number 3, Royal Harry, kind of had the best time form numbers out of the group and won a maiden special weight 2 races back. Last time out, they tried Allowance Company. It did not go well whatsoever. A pretty drastic drop, but looked like it needed to be. So I didn't think anything was kind of amiss with the horse because of that drop. But as you see there, didn't run great. And we got 3rd again. We'll see. Definitely belongs at this 12K level. And hopefully kind of sticks with that. And maybe we'll use this horse again in the future. So that's kind of how we got to the horses in the first leg. Let's go on to the second leg here. Flip the preview screen. So we're on the synthetic. A lot of people really panic or did panic maybe when this synthetic surface happened. I wouldn't. I mean, it plays pretty fair, pretty normal. I know at the first few weeks it was there. Speed horses had a tough time, but it's really not a hard surface, at least in my estimation, to kind of get a feel for. All right, so we went 1, 3, 7, and 8 in this leg, and as we scroll down here, we see the 7 wins and pays $940. So that's pretty good for us to kind of get this horse home. Was able to beat a favorite here. So like I said, 1, 3, 7, and 8. The 8 was the big-time favorite. We'll start with the 7, why we kind of use this horse. Well, look, I'll go to the preview screen now. You look at it, the 1, the 3, the 7, the 8, they all seem to have numbers that really stand out amongst anybody else in this field on the synthetic. The 2 scratched out of the race. He was, was one we were kind of looking at to use as well. So really kind of got that narrowed down pretty quick. The 1, 3, 7, 8, those are the horses to kind of beat here. And look what happened. 7, 8, 1, so the 3 was 5th. So you almost have the super out of these 4 horses. This seemed like a very straightforward race. Kind of just use 4 and go on. The 7, very, very explainable, right? I mean, won an allowance race last time out over this track. 106 time form, second highest in the group. Seems like a logical use. Saffie Joseph, I mean, it's very easy to explain. The 8, very easy to explain why this horse was the favorite. 3 starts, 3 wins. All came in starter races or maiden special weights. That's the one reason why we kind of, there was 2 reasons why we kind of paused on going real short with this 8. Starter allowance to straight allowance, that is a big jump up in class. Now you look at this, 1 by 2, 1 by 4, 1 by 6.25. Sure, you obviously can see this horse is ready to go up to the starter allowance ranks. It's not like this was a bad or the open allowance races. I'll get it right the 3rd time. You can see why. This horse was ready. It's not a bad spot. You kind of look 1 by 4, 1 by 6, 101 time form, 103 time form, and then you come to unsociable, 1 by length in the 3/4 in a straight allowance, 106. So the numbers were pretty comparable. The 8 was not really a standout when you look at that. Others we use the 3, getting back to synthetic, dropping down in class here a little bit, ran 3rd in a stakes over the synthetic surface. And the last time out, the horse was in an allowance over the synthetic, was a winner by 5. So made sense to kind of put that horse on the ticket as well. That's the one that did end up missing the board, getting 5th. And then the one, Mama on 3, looking for 2 races in a row, or 2 wins in a row, I should say. Came out off of a layoff, of a pretty long layoff, 226 days, put the horse right to the synthetic, got 2nd and then won. So obviously some pretty good form there. So seemed like a logical horse to use as well. So didn't really invent the wheel, or reinvent the wheel, I should say, in the 6th race. This was a pretty straightforward one. Let's go on to the 7th here, and it's 2-year-old Maidens, this time going 1 mile. Again, I thought this was very, very easy, very logical race to handicap. It turns out the heavy favorite does win this one. That was not the case in the next two races we're going to talk about, but Infinite Diamond does win. Let's look at this at a quick glance, right? We don't have to spend much time on it. The 5 and 6 are scratched. So we'll go down. The 1, kind of pull this horse up, hasn't really run too well. Pretty good connections, and that's kind of a reason to maybe try to play the horse, but 63 time form, 72 time form, kind of on the slow side. The 3 comes in here, 2 races under the 3's belt, both time forms much higher than the 1. Just seemed like, hey, the 3's a better horse than the 1 and move on. The 4 was the other one he used. So we did use the 3 and the 4. The 4, it's a first-time starter for Saffie Joseph. I mean, that's pretty much all you need to know at Gulfstream, especially. He's hitting at 19% with first-time starters, 23% overall, 25% at Gulfstream. And listen, this is not a secret. Saffie Joseph going to be pretty tough to beat usually at this track. The 7 was a first-time starter for Sano. I really like Antonio Sano, but only 5% with his first-time starters. That's usually the case. They usually run better second out, maybe circle that one. And then the 8 did have the 1 start, not great connections, just didn't look too good in that first start. Did not think we'd see that jump. So it looked to me very obvious. The 3 Infinite Diamond with the nice time form numbers, and the 4 Honor de Lady. And as I said, it went 3-4, pretty much how we saw it. We talked about the 1 a little bit, or I just talked about the 1 a little bit. Kind of just another one, probably got a similar time form that she's been getting. Just not a very fast horse right now. Maybe a drop down to the maiden claiming ranks, and that horse becomes interesting. So 3-4 gets it done. This was never really in doubt. All right, let's go on to the 8th race. Is the other one where we went short. I'm most proud of this one in the sequence. I thought this was a major turning point for us. The number 1 Demo Wonder, I mean, obviously was the one to use in this spot. Very good time form numbers, very consistent. As I scroll down, you can see just very consistent runner. But again, a lot of starter allowance wins. You see that, another starter allowance, another starter. Went to the straight allowances last time and got beat. But still ran well, got a nice number. Wasn't really anything you need to panic about. But again, and I'll stress it, that's kind of a theme on the show today. Starter allowance races, jumping up to straight allowance races, or conditioned just straight allowance races, it's tough. It's tough to do. It's a different ball game. So Demo Wonder, like I said, if this was a starter, maybe a single. I just wasn't 100% confident that Demo Wonder would be alone on the lead or anything like that today. So the 4 Bluefield was the other one we used. This horse was coming off of a long layoff and was changing to the barn of Saffie Joseph Jr., and that was the key. Okay, so let's kind of analyze this. You kind of look, the horse had been in straight allowance company, had earned and staked company, earned a 99 time form back in July at Pimlico, I should say July of 2021, a long time ago. Won an allowance at Timonium, and then kind of lost form there at Laurel, a couple of races for Justin Nixon. So goes to Saffie and shows up in an allowance, had time form figures that were competitive. Listen, a lot of people will look at a layoff and no matter what will say, oh, that's not good. That's not good. I can't take a horse off a layoff, especially when it gets up, 271 days. Let's say over 6 months is kind of the barrier. They're like, yeah, I just can't do it. My Papa Dude, my dad, is definitely one of those people. He will never take a horse off a layoff. I'm so quick to point out, guys, look at the stats of the trainer off the layoff. Let's examine Saffie Joseph. Horses from 203 days to 339 days. He's had 26 starters in the last year, and he's won with 23% of them. And even more importantly, he's hit the board with 65% of them. That means that's not a problem for that trainer. Not a problem whatsoever. If he's overall 23%, and then the layoff numbers are 23%, it's the same number. So it really doesn't matter. And I try to tell that to people a lot. Chad Brown's another one. You just look at his layoff numbers. It's like, well, they're just as good as his regular ones. So, whatever. Look at the layoff numbers. Layoffs are not a bad thing for certain trainers. Certain trainers will get them to run. Some, they may need a race or two. Guys like Saffie, no, not really. So anyway, I thought the trainer change was definitely a positive. Reyes jumps aboard. That's a good sign when he's riding for Safi. Wasn't worried about the layoff. And his numbers, or her numbers, I should say, were right there, speed figure wise, with the big favorite. So look, play the favorite, put the 4 in there as well. I think the 4 could upset. And like I said, we go back here, 1240 winner, beats a big favorite. That's what we needed. We knew we were kind of in good shape. We could get a decent payoff once we got Dim of Wonder beat. So Bluefield gets the job done. And we're 3 deep going in the last leg here. This was always the one I was worried about even before we got here and we were live, because it's a maiden special weight, but it's kind of a conditioned maiden special weight. It's a tough race. I thought it was fairly wide open. The big favorite in here was the 3 Dominican Ice. We did use that horse, but we'll start with the 5 Royal Attitude, a horse that won here. They ended up actually winning. You see it right there. Look at the payoff here. Like I said, $1,063.15 for 5 out of 5 correctly. Royal Attitude was the one of the horses we used. And again, I'll start with Dominican Ice. Here's why we did not single this horse. Now, let's look. Speed figure wise, yeah, definitely better than anything else you're going to see, right? Not even close. But look, 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, hit the board there. So 4 straight hit the board races, got beat 8-5, 7-5. So you see this horse was getting bet down. A beaten favorite over and over and over in a maiden. It just worries you. It worries you that the horse maybe just cannot quite finish the deal. And look, hasn't in those last 2 races were not close. Got beat by 2, got beat by 9 1/4. So lost ground in the stretch both those times as well. The signs were there that maybe we could beat this horse. I really liked the 5 Royal Attitude. You look at the time for him, not great, but that was a debut race for Royal Attitude. I love David Fox second starts. I think he's very, very solid, especially at Gulfstream Park. So I like the trainer. I like the fact the horse could move up. And you watch the race back, went really fast on debut, did Royal Attitude. You see right there, 22:45, pretty fast. He's right up on the lead and just didn't finish the race very well. Now, you look at it here, you look at the pace projection, he's going to be near the lead, but you don't see a lot of burners. You don't see a lot of faster horses. And I think that gave him a big, big advantage here. So the 3 Dominican Ice definitely had to use. The 5 we just thought could move forward off of that race. And then the last one we put on the ticket was the 1. First time starter by Keen Ice with a trainer that's not great, as you see with first time starters. Listen, I just see the workouts here. I thought the horse might be able to run a little bit. Was working pretty fast here at Gulfstream. I don't know. I just kind of felt like, look, we kind of need another price in there to spice it up. I like this one. Let's throw it in there. We kind of know what we've got with some of the horses that have started. First-time starters weren't great. We did like the 8 a little bit, but that horse scratched. That's a first-timer for Safi that made sense. I just thought we could kind of get a little sneaky with the 1. Maybe that he could run a little bit. Turns out he's second to last. He doesn't run very well. But we were right up with a 5 Royal Attitude. The horse did improve a second race out for Fox, and that's an angle that you're going to see a lot. Look for this. This is a guy here. I want to point him out a little bit. David Fox is not really a guy that gets a lot of talk, right? He's pretty damn solid. He's 19% overall. He's not, almost runs all the races at Gulfstream. He's 19% there. I'm telling you, he's a pretty darn good trainer. He gets them to run pretty darn well, especially second out of their career. So keep an eye on him. Not a lot of people talk about him. He's down at Gulfstream, and he's consistently winning races. So he was able to get the job done. We talked about Dominican Ice. Wasn't able to finish it again. Got third. And third is a big-time favorite here. I think, what did he go off at? 4-5. So, we probably shouldn't have used the horse at all, to be quite honest. But kind of the thought process was, if we can beat 1 or 2 of these favorites, we'll be able to get a good payoff here. Like I said, kind of probably wasted money in the end using the 3, but would have felt bad if the 3 won and it was like a $600 will pay and we didn't get it. So that's kind of the game you play sometimes. So anyway, the 5 gets the job done there. Like I said, second time out for David Fox, kind of like that angle. and thought that's where to go. So anyway, there it is. That's what it was. That's kind of how we went through the ticket, how we put that one together. Of course, I'm talking about a winner here. We had losers, obviously, as well throughout the week. We did have a couple of nice wins on Sunday, a little bit smaller payouts, but nice wins as well. So like I said, sometimes I will throw a losing ticket up if that stands out. If say we went 4 out of 5 and man, we were alive to something and it didn't work out. I think there's lessons to be learned for that as well. But as far as handicapping, that's kind of how we put this one together. Honestly, a lot of these races were pretty straightforward. Really, the only race, as I go back through it, maybe here we thought about adding another horse or two in the first leg, but we just kind of thought we could get away with 4 horses there, and then the rest of them kind of jumped out the page on you. Sometimes when that happens, you could hit it, but it's not a great payout. This time we got fortunate and beat a couple favorites, and we got favorites, I should say, and we got a little over 1,000. So pretty good day at Gulfstream on Friday. Definitely one that we were happy with. And anyway, hopefully this helps you guys with kind of looking at either what you did, or maybe you can go back and be like, yeah, maybe I see what they did there, or maybe I disagree. That's fine as well. But that's just kind of how we saw it from a handicapping standpoint. Not a lot of talk about structure. It was pretty much right there for us. We didn't have to really debate the structure much, because we got to that $96 number and really didn't have to leave off any horses. So, all right, guys, that's it for this week for Rockets Hits and Heartbreaks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll just kind of keep molding this show, so to speak, a weekly video, kind of based on how you guys want, or what you guys want, and how you guys want to do it. So that's fine with me. I'm just doing this one just to kind of help everybody learn angles, learn structuring, whatever, because there's no doubt this is one of the more complicated wagers that you could do in racing with these Big 4s and Big 5s. So thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back next week. We'll see what we'll be talking about. We've got a big Pennsylvania Derby day coming up, so that's going to be fun. Of course, Belmont at the Big A is still going on, Churchill as well. And we'll sprinkle in Gulfstream as well this week. So a lot to look forward to. We may even do the Oklahoma Derby on Sunday too. Forgot about that one. Could be there live and in person as well. We'll see. So a lot of fun stuff coming up this weekend. So thanks everybody for watching the video, and we will see you next week.